Most confidence advice and real confidence look quite identical from the outside. Maybe it's the same posture, the same kind of eye contact, the same easy smile, but one of these quietly repels the exact woman you actually want. And most men have no idea which one they're actually doing. Now, if you're a good man, you've probably been on a few dates where you've tried to perform as if you're unaffected on a date because somewhere along the way, you learned that that's what attractive means. You need to stand taller, talk slower, never let a woman see you sweat. And it might be working, just not with the women you actually want. Because women who are secure, emotionally mature, and worth keeping don't respond to men who are performing. They can feel the difference between a man who's settled in himself and a man who's he's trying very hard to look that way. Almost immediately, women can pick this up. Now, today I'm going to walk you through 5 unseen habits that come from a man who has a genuine, stable relationship with himself. No tactics, no lines to memorize. So, by the end of this video, guys, you're going to know exactly what those attractive habits are. And you're going to have a way to check yourself privately without ever having to ask anybody about them. Now, welcome to this channel. My name is Kimberly Hill, and I'm a dating and relationship coach for men. Support good-hearted men to attract deeply loving relationships and go on to maintain those relationships. Now, if you're new to this YouTube channel or to the podcast, if you're listening to the audio version and you want somewhere to start, I've put together a free guide called Why You're Not Finding Love. It's 9 chapters. It's quite direct. And if you've been wondering why you're not having success in dating and the same patterns keep showing up for you no matter how hard you're trying with women, I'm going to show you exactly why. Now, the link is in the description to grab it. Go ahead, get it. It is free. Now, if you've been on this channel for a while and you're already past the point of reading about it and you're ready to actually do the work, then Dating Mastery for Men is my self-paced program that's built especially for men like yourself. It goes places this channel does not, and it is structured to take you from insight to real change. You're going to find clarity on the most frustrating aspects of dating and know exactly what to do about it and how to attract a healthy, loving relationship. A relationship you're going to feel fulfilled in, one that has deep intimacy and love and respect and trust, which is what you are really on this channel for. Now, the link for that Dating Mastery for Men course is in the description too. Okay, but let's get into today's video. So what is the first habit that makes you really attractive to women that is quite unseen and not talked about as often, which is you don't over-explain yourself? Now watch what happens when most men have to say no to a woman. I'm sorry I can't make Friday. I've got this thing with my brother. And honestly, work's been really brutal and I feel really wiped and I'm sorry, but can we rain check maybe next time? Now that's not honesty. That is a man negotiating for permission to have a boundary. And here's what not over-explaining yourself sounds like. I can't make it Friday, but I'd love to see you next week. Full sentence, no massive audit trail. Now, think about the last time you actually did this. You had to turn down plans or you had to say no to something small, and you felt that pull to keep talking, to add one more reason just in case the first reason wasn't good enough, and the pull to keep explaining yourself is something worth noticing, guys. It usually isn't about the woman you're dating. It's in fact quite typically a fawn response that a lot of men have picked up early in life. Somewhere you believe that love or approval felt conditional on staying quite agreeable on justifying yourself well enough that nobody got upset with you. And you learned that silence after saying no was dangerous. So you learned to fill it with reasons. Now here's your private check. If you notice yourself adding a second reason after you've already given one when you're having to say no to something, this is your tell. The first sentence was the truth, and everything after that is anxiety dressed up as politeness. So a man that explains everything is actually asking for permission, and a woman worth keeping wants a man, not a request form. And here's the filter that's sneakily built into this. The woman that you're dating, who pushes you for the paragraph, who needs a big justification from you before she's going to let it go emotionally. Listen to this. Because she is showing you something about how she handles disappointment. Pay attention to that. How a woman responds when you set a boundary is really important information. Now, habit number 2. You can admit when you are affected and nervous instead of performing as if nothing bothers you or you're always unaffected. So let's say you're on a second date and your hands aren't quite steady, or your voice catches a little when you're telling a story. And the old dating advice says, hide it, play it cool, don't let her see it. You know, pretend that you just swallowed your martini a little strongly, whatever, right? You have to make up some reason why it can't be her that's impacting you. Well, here's a better version. You say to this woman on the date, I haven't felt this kind of nervous in a while. It's a good sign, I think. And then you keep talking and the date goes on. It's called name it to tame it. And it's harder than it sounds because you guys have spent years training yourselves out of visible nerves at work, with friends, anywhere it felt like this weakness could be used against you. So, the instinct for you to stay flat and quite unaffected on a date isn't a random thing. It's quite practiced by many of you, but the date is not a boardroom. And naming your nerves out loud is not a confession, and it certainly isn't a weakness. It's actually what real composure sounds like. Forced calm reads accidentally like arrogance or disconnection, and most women can tell the difference instantly. So, a woman who finds your admission of a little nerves adorable or disarming rather than off-putting is a woman who's not going to punish you for being human later in the relationship when it counts a hell of a lot more than it does on date 2. Pay attention to this one. Now, habit number 3, guys. Your effort, whether that's for dressing well or keeping your place tidy, comes from self-respect, not from performance. Most dating advice will stop at get a haircut, wash your clothes, make sure you clean under your fingernails before you go on a date, basic hygiene, full stop. But here's the deeper test underneath that. It's not what would impress this woman that I'm going on a date with. It's, would I leave the house dressed like this if I was just meeting a friend for coffee? No date involved at all. If the answer is yes, that's self-respect. If your effort to look well, dress well, or tidy up only happens when a woman is the audience, that's performance. And on some level, she'll clock it. Now, this shows up in all sorts of different ways that you might not think about. Whether you still go to the gym during a little bit of a slump, whether your apartment or your home is somewhere you want to live, even if nobody comes over and sees it, whether you replace the jeans that you're wearing that don't fit anymore instead of just wearing them out of habit. None of that is for her. That is evidence to yourself that you are a man that is worth maintaining. And a man who maintains himself for himself is showing her the actual relationship that she's going to be in, not the curated version of it that you do and dust up for dates 1 to 6. And a woman who only notices the effort when it's pointed at her, who doesn't really care how you treat yourself the rest of the week, is telling you pretty early on that your needs won't matter much once she's got you. Again, all of these attraction habits have built-in filtering mechanisms. That's why they're so fantastic. Laughter. Okay, now, habit 4. You keep your passions and you don't surrender them for time with a woman. And this was really hard in early dating. Maybe you have a band practice, maybe you have Tuesday night hockey league, and suddenly the woman you're dating is free that evening and you go, I really want to see her. So the instinct is to drop everything, to cancel your stuff, to clear the night, to prove to her how much you want her. And here's the better version. I've got band practice tonight, but I'm free Thursday. I'd love to see you then. And this one trips men up a lot because maybe it feels selfish in some ways, or it feels like you're not prioritizing the dating component of life or her enough, especially early on when, generally we do need to make a decent impression to other people. But think about what you're actually demonstrating when you cancel the thing that you love at your first opportunity. You're showing this woman that your life rearranges itself around new attention. And that's not romantic. Even if it feels that way in the moment, it's actually the first preview of you disappearing as a man. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes it doesn't land well in the moment with a woman. Sometimes she's going to be a little annoyed with you. It's happened to me. I was like, clears throat. How dare this man not want to cancel his entire life to spend a few hours with me? Come on, right? Sometimes she'll be a little annoyed or maybe a little surprised that you didn't drop anything or everything because she's used to men doing that for her. And that's fine. That is not your problem to manage. You're not doing this to get a reaction. You're doing it because it's true. And a woman who can't tolerate that small of a boundary this early on is not going to tolerate bigger ones later on. So it is worth making sure you stay committed to the things that you love and have previously committed to and find time around that to see a woman versus drop your life for a woman because that feels exciting to you. Now, a man with a full life is a man worth competing for, not a man worth managing. The things that you love won't stop mattering because somebody new showed up in your life. And a woman who resents the part of you that exists outside of her is showing you exactly how much room you're going to have left in 5 years. So pay attention now while this is cheap information, guys. Now, habit number 5, and this is one most men never hear, which is that you know how to repair after a misstep or a mistake. Highly attractive quality. Let me explain what I mean by repair, because most men and women have never been taught this. Repair is not apologizing profusely until the discomfort of whatever happened goes away. And it sure as hell isn't pretending that the thing never happened and sweeping it under the carpet. Repair is a specific move. You name what happened briefly without over-explaining or collapsing into shame, and then you course correct. That's it. It's short. It's not a performance of remorse, guys. And it's not that radio silence either. So picture this. You've been on a couple dates with a woman, and she mentioned that this upcoming Monday, she has this massive meeting, very, very important meeting at work. And she, however, has agreed that she will go on a date with you that Monday night. So, okay. So the weekend passes and you get to Monday night and you spend the first 20 minutes of the date talking all about your own weekend. And then it dawns on you, oh, I totally forgot to ask her about her massive meeting that she stressed to me on our last date was really, really important to her. So most men go one of two ways here. Once they realize, they over-apologize. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I didn't ask how your meeting went. That's so inconsiderate to me. I'm usually way better than this. I don't know where my manners have gone. Oh my God, blah, 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 which now makes this woman feel as if she needs to manage your guilt on top of the original moment. Or men go way number 2, which is you go quiet. You realize, oh my God, I didn't ask her. Well, it's going to be awkward if I ask her now. So I'm just going to not say anything and hope it blows over and maybe she'll raise it. And I just disappear into the shame of all of this. And both of those things make it way worse, guys, because both of them are about your discomfort. I feel all this guilt and shame, so I'm going to over-apologize. Or I feel all this guilt and shame, and I'm going to say nothing. And that has to do with your discomfort. So when you can learn to access your own discomfort and talk about it and repair, man, does it ever smooth out relationships. And this is going to just be a skill to make you feel way more confident in your relationships from now till forever. So here's what repair actually sounds like. Oh, wait, you know what? I never asked about your big meeting this morning. How did it go? It's clean, it's brief, no spiral, no audit of how sorry you are, just a direct correction. And then you're actually listening to her answer. So maybe you did forget. But when you recognized and realized you then jumped in and you asked about her meeting, then you don't need to over-explain yourself. You're not a perfect human, and you're not expected to be. And this is something nobody talks about a lot, and it's really the most important habit on this list. And it's highly, highly attractive. It's a man who can repair without collapsing into shame, without deflecting blame onto her. It's really showing a woman exactly how conflict is going to go for the next 20 years because you're going to have it. Laughter. There's no way to avoid it, right? And it's not whether I'm going to be this perfect guy that remembers everything and correct orders all the time. No, 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 no. You're not going to do that. You can't do that. Nobody's perfect in that way. It's that can you be trusted when you make a mistake? And that's worth way more to a secure woman than a man who never messes up at all because she knows that perfection doesn't exist. She's just looking for a man who can acknowledge and recover. So notice what these 5 habits actually have in common. None of them are tricks, guys. None of them are about reading a woman perfectly or saying the right line at the right moment. Every single one of them comes from the same place. A man like yourself who has a stable, settled relationship with himself. You don't need a woman to manage your self-esteem. You're not performing confidence. You're just not afraid of being seen. And that's precisely what lets a good woman, a secure woman, feel safe enough to actually fall for you. The women who only respond to the performance version of you were never going to be the women who respect the real version of you anyways. So thank you very much for tuning in to today's video. And now, before I go, guys, if something here has landed for you today, go ahead and start with my free guide. The link to get instant access is in the notes below, and I'll see you all next week. Ciao.